in the previous lecture, we were discussing some topics regarding the software engineering architecture designs, na? So some of the slides we already discussed, but let's have a recap once again, then we'll continue. Architecture, why architecture? Because architecture serves as a blueprint for a system. It works as a blueprint. It provides an abstraction to manage the system complexity and establish a communication and coordination mechanism among different components that are in your software. So one thing you need to know, it is a similar to the blueprint. It provides you abstractions, mean it hides the complexity at different level, and it also helps to manage the system complexity, and it establishes a communication and coordination mechanism among the different components. So this is the overall goal of why we use this architecture, and we know the architecture is the overall structure of a software. So overall structure of a software means there will be different components in the software, and they will be fit together. They will be fit together to perform the common goal, to achieve the common goal. So this is the objective of your architecture. You may also have might have studied already COA subject is there, na, computer organization and architecture. So that architecture is also the same thing. You can take the reference how different microprocessor architecture we have seen. So that different components were there, register was there, LU was there, how they were communicating, clock cycle, buses are there, different things, but they fit together to form a unified system to achieve a common goal. So that is the thing here also. Architecture of a system describes the component and how they fit together. The architecture is not the operational software. This need to be, once again you keep in mind, architecture that we created now, it is not operational. Just it is a blueprint, means my system will look like this, how the components will be connected. It is not an operational thing, actual thing. After implementation we will get the actual thing. So rather it is a representation that enables a software engineers to what? First point is analyze the effectiveness of the design in meeting its stated requirements. What means? It means if you have one design, then you can criticize this component is not properly fit, this component is not good, we can improve this one. If we have the design, then so that is one objective we can analyze the architecture. Next, consider architectural alternatives at a stage when making design changes, which is still relatively easy. And so here consider there may be different alternatives, architectural alternatives may be there at different state, at different levels. So when you will make any design changes, so what you can do, you can make the changes very easily. It becomes relatively easy compared to not using this architectural design component design part. So what it one more thing it does, it reduce the risk associated with the construction of software. Okay, we already prepared the overall architecture of the software. Then we are going for the next step, that is the implementation part. If any risk is there, we can assess here which component will create the problem. Okay, so that risk can be minimized, that can be reduced. We can't remove completely, but we can reduce the risk associated with the construction of the software, development of the software, not construction. Okay, so why is architecture important? Representation of software architecture are are an enabler for communication between all parties, stakeholders. Yeah, interested in the development of computer-based system. Next, the architecture highlights early design decisions that will have a profound impact on all software engineering works that follows, and as important, on the ultimate success of the system as an operational entity. So architecture constitute a relatively small, okay, intellectually graspable mode of how system is structured and how its components work together. So I think it is very much clear what is written, no need to explain. So these points, the why architecture is important we can assess from these statements. Next, this is the category of architectures, we call it genre. So implies a specific category within overall software domains. So within each category you may encounter a number of subcategories. Obviously we can get for the system, the software system, that any software system that you are going to create, it is not one part, it will be done in a modular ways, component wise. So everything will, so one module is there, then again it will be subcategorized. For example, within the genre of buildings, this example you can say, when you are constructing any building, you would encounter the following genre styles, like the houses, condos, apartments will be there, apartment buildings, office buildings, okay, industrial buildings, warehouses. So they have their own objective to build. With the with our objective, with our requirements, we build the building. So building is a common term, but we will build, we will construct this according to our need and category. So we need to know what for which purpose I am going to build the construct the building. Whether it is for your residential, it is for apartments, it is office building. So based on your chosen architecture category, your requirement, the everything will change. So same thing also applicable to the software. We'll make it clear once again. So within each general style, more specific style might apply. Each style would have a structure that can be described using a set of predictable patterns. You can see here, if you are developing any software system, so that category, maybe you are developing some artificial intelligence based software, some devices, embedded devices, software for embedded devices, sports, okay, the software for sport. So the requirement and theme, everything, the architectural design, everything will change based on your category, whatever you are choosing. If you are developing some financial applications, like Paytm is there, or any other uh, payment gateways are running, or any bank website is there. So what is this? It depends upon the different needs we categorize. So game is like, for game you are making some application for kids game or any type of, so that will also change, that is also another category. For medical, for scientific work you are developing some software, and for transportation also, tour and travel. For government purpose you are developing some software, and there are so many, not one, very different number of categories are there. Just few of them is mentioned here. You can you can look into this, so that you can understand, whenever we'll design the architecture, we'll keep in mind these things. We'll keep in mind in these things. Next one, architecture style. So architectural style there are patterns or style type of architecture at the back of each artist. Okay, so differentiate a house from other styles. So software also exhibits some styles. Okay, that we already discussed. Same thing we will relate here. So each style describes a system, a category that that it contains. So first one, set of components. So in set of components, what are the different components that may exist in your software system? So yeah, one is database. If some storage is there, you want to interact with the database, you need to store, retrieve, delete, update anything, some information. Then who will work? This component database. Some computational model is there, means you have to make some computations, so you can create one computational models, so that will work over the database. Next, okay, so the set of components that perform a functions required by a system. So set of connectors will be there. We have the systems. Okay, if I am having some components, definitely we need to connect this one, means we have to make the interface. So that is nothing different. It is the connectors. So that enables the communication, okay, coordination and cooperation among different components that are available. Constraints will be there. Some constraint means some conditions will be there, some limitations may be there. So constraints that define how components can be integrated to form the system. So this is keep in mind in architecture style. Semantic modules. Semantic refers to the meaning. Semantic models that enable a designer to understand the overall properties of a system by analyzing the known properties of its constituent parts. So some designer is there, whoever is there, designer, it will enable semantic models. It will enable the designers to understand the overall properties. How? By analyzing the known properties of its constituent part, means its different components. So he will the meaning means he will be able to understand the model. Semantic means it is semantic means meaning. So it is a computer term like syntax. We have syntax means some grammatical rules are there, and we also know the semantic. Semantic means its meaning. Okay, meaning means if I am writing int a. Okay, so in C how I declare the integer variable int a, and then I write like this. So it is the syntax, whether it is correct or not correct. If I write a int, then in C it is syntactically incorrect. Okay, but this one int a is syntactically correct. But what is the meaning of it? That is understand by the semantic. So semantic means it is a is a integer variable. It will contain the integer type variable or value. So this is the semantic. Next one, taxonomy of styles in software. Taxonomy means classification or categorization of style in a software. So one is the data centered architectures. Data centered architecture. Next, data flow architectures, and call and return architecture, object oriented architectures, layered architectures. So how many we have? 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So these 5 types styles we have. So you see here we will have the discussion one by one in detail also. So data centered architecture, what is meaning of this one? Data centered means the data is in central place. So this type of architecture you can look here. Data store or repository is there, means my data is stored at a central location. And what is happening? some client software around it, they are connected to the data store or repository, and they are doing different operations as per their requirement. So in the center, one style is this: your data set is at a central location, the central place is there, and client softwares, they are interacting with that. So this is the data centered architecture, and someday some description is also there. You can see here the data stored in a in file or database is occupying at the center of the architecture. Whatever, this is the overall architecture, but in the center you are having this database or data store. So stored data is accessed, stored data is accessed continuously by the other components, like, and how this operation you can say for updates and deletion, add, modify from the data store this location. Data centered architecture helps integrity and pass data between clients using the blackboard mechanisms. So the processes are independently executed by the client components. Independently means, suppose some value d is there, a and b, whatever value is there, if somebody this person is accessing okay, so there will be some mechanism so that the integrity and independency or consistency may be maintained. So that is the part of your database management system, you already know. Just why I need to know. So what is this architecture style? Means in the center you will be having data store, okay, and client software, that application software will be around it, they will be accessing. Next one is the data flow architecture. You can see here. Next one is the data flow architecture. As its name suggests the meaning. What is the meaning of this one? Data flow architecture. Here, how the data is flowing, that is our main main intention to depict here. So this architecture is applied when you will apply when the input data is converted into a series of manipulative components into output data. So then we will go for this type of architecture, data flow architecture. This style will be used when intermediate in the middle, some input data whatever you have passed, a series of actions will be performed over that, then final output will come. So we use this pipe and filters for that. So a pipe and filter pattern is a set of components called as the filters. You may know here the filters. So one in that one is the pipe and filters approach. You can see here filters. What are the filters? Filters are connected through pipes and transfer data from one component to the next component. The flow of data degenerates into a single line of transform. Then it is known as the batch. This one sequentially, one after another. Sequentially it is, but here you can see it is not sequential. The flow is now diverting. So I mean to say that here a pipe and filter pattern is used here. So a pipe and filter pattern is set of components called as the filters. So this is the second approach, that is the data flow architecture approach, or this is the style of architecture that we can use when there is a need of input data to be converted into the series of manipulative components, then it will come to the output. So in that pipe filters, and next one is the sequential batch sequential approach style you can use. Next one is the call and return architecture. Call and return. So you can guess call and return. This term is related to function. Are you able to listen?
Yes, sir.
Call and return, this term is related to function. You
Yes,
have
sir.
already covered the functions in the previous semester in Python. Functions. What is function? Can anybody tell what is function? Don't know. Then
Set
you
of
read.
programs.
Okay. Yeah, very good.
Set of
Yeah, yeah.
set of statements written in a single statement, sir.
In
Further,
single
we will
unit.
not.
Set of programs that perform a specific task, sir.
Uh, and kept in a single unit.
Single unit. Yes, sir.
And we give some name. We name it. And that may be repeatedly used.
Used in the
Hmm.
program.
Okay, so you have some idea about the function, no issue. So this type of architecture is used. That you can also say procedural approach is there, no? Procedural. So call and return architecture is there. So what is there? So this architecture style allows to achieve a program structure which is easy to modify. How? The following are the sub style exist in this category. Again, two classification is done here. You can see here main program or sub program architecture. So you may you can see here the program is divided into smaller pieces hierarchically. Okay, the main program invokes many of program components in the hierarchy. That program components are divided into the subprograms. Okay, so you are doing C programming right now, na? In this semester you are having C programming. So how you are, what is the general form of writing the program? You will be having some header files you will add in the beginning. Then your main function starts.
Yes, sir.
And you write the different based on your program objective, you write the different lines of codes to perform your task. And we also use different functions. We also call like factorial function, addition, subtraction, different functions uh, we have written the code for that in a separate place within the program. And what we do, we call in main function, and each function, those function you can call as a one component or one module. So the program is divided into smaller pieces hierarchically. So why we are doing this? To make our program uh, easily so that we can understand easily, and the complexity of the program can be reduced, uh, and it can be easily managed. So we do that approach. So the program is divided into the small piece hierarchically. The main program invokes means it calls many of the program components in the hierarchy that program components are divided into. Okay, we'll see in the program. Oh, that diagram. Next one you can see here, this one. You can see here this diagram. M is the main program, and these are the different components, and they are arranged in hierarchical way. Hierarchical means in a tree structured, in a tree structured way. Okay, so next one is the remote procedure call architecture. In this, so the main program or subprogram components are distributed in network of multiple computers. So this is called the RPC, sometimes with very short name. So this is the RPC, remote procedure call, remote procedural call architecture. So RPC means remote. Remote means my computer is not at one place. Distributed network. Okay. the software component is not at one place. So the main program or sub program components are distributed in network of multiple computers. Then we'll go for this approach. So the main objective is to increase the performance. Why we do this distribution in the network? Because one system is not well capable to complete the task within the stipulated or specified number of times, or its capacity is not up to that mark. So we can distribute in different places and parallel work can be done. Then we can then we can accumulate the work. So in this way we can improve the performance. So these two approaches, I hope it is clear for you. I try to make it understood. So see here, any person want to say something? Any problem?
No, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
So call and return architecture. What is happening? This is main program. You assume. Okay, your C programming, whatever program you are writing right now. So M means it may be your main program. Some main function is there, and these are the different functions that you have. Suppose one calculator you want to develop as a software calculator, scientific or whatever. Simple calculator. So you will start with M means main functions, addition, subtraction, okay, like this. Further, okay, you can subcategorize. So these are different modules. So okay, now you can observe here, I have divided the main program, the whole program, into different small components. So what we can do now, I can easily write the code for one components like here. Then I can integrate here by calling the function in the main function. So okay, so structural matrix which measures the intermodule complexity. So for that we use two terms, that is the fine in and fine out. In that, what is the fine out and what is the fine in? With the help of this metric we can know the complexity of the architecture. So what is fine in? Is the number of modules, different 1 2 3 4 5 like this, number of modules that call a given module. One module is there. So suppose for this here, one module is there. How many persons is calling? This one is also, this one is also, this one is also. Here it is also calling this one. So fine in. So find out, what is the find out? Is the number of modules that called by a module. Suppose one module is there. Okay, he has called this one also, this one. So like this will be treated as find out. So find out of main M will be more, because main will call all the functions. So like this we can assess, we can evaluate the complexity in the system using this find in and find out. Okay, I hope it is clear now. Next one is the layered architecture. So layered architecture, when we will prefer? So you can look here, the different layers are defined in the architecture. It consists of outer and inner layer. Okay, the components of outer layer manage the user interface operations. Okay, outer layer, this one. Okay, we have cut this one, otherwise it is in a layer wise to understand. So what was the first one? This is the user interface layer. So the component of outer layer manage the user interface operations. Okay, you want to display something. Okay, you want to do something. So what you can do? So this is your user interface layer. So like you are watching this lecture. Okay, with the software only, team software is there. So from that interface is there. With the help of that interface, you are able to you can log into the system to watch this lecture. You can leave the lecture. You can write the you can switch on, switch off mic. You can write in the chat box. So many operations are there. This is the user interface layer. So here also the components of outer layer manage the user interface operations. Next one is the components execute the operating system interfacing at the inner layer. Okay, this one. The inner layers are applications layer, and utility layer you are having, and the core layer. Okay, in many cases it is possible that more than one pattern is suitable, and the alternative architecture style can be designed and evaluated. Okay, when you are thinking about designing a software, it may possible that more than one architecture is now suitable for designing the software, but we have to make the alternative style decision to which we can go ahead. So you can see here layered architecture. In Unix operating system, you have seen Unix and Linux, whatever you are layered architecture, you have already studied that. Layered architecture, Unix, Linux, layered architecture of that operating system. So in the middle you may be having the core means it may kernel will be there, some utility will be there. This is the application software will be. Utility means some compiler is there, debugger is there, okay, interpreter is there. There are so many utility softwares are there. Okay, application, some system software will be there, like there are components in your operating systems, like the system that is called the system software will be there, some device driver will be there. Okay, so that will be combined with this one, and later on you are having the application software like you are having MS Word, MS Paint, Microsoft Office, you are using the Paint software, your calculator software you are using. You can also install one application software like Photoshop, Adobe Premiere Pro. So that will come here. So in the same way, if you are using designing one software, okay, if you can go for this approach also, that is the layered architecture. Okay, next one is the architectural pattern. Pattern we already discussed in the previous lecture in detail. Pattern templates and its name, how it can be used frequently, this one. So this is nothing but the design solution to recurring problems. Design solutions to recurring means coming again and again. Okay, so recurring problems. So examples, concurrency. What is the concurrency? Concurrency means some operations if you are doing in a parallel way, same time, simultaneous operations are happening, then these concurrency problems may come. We have to maintain the concurrency. Concurrence means they should run independent manner. Okay. Application must handle multiple tasks in a manner that simulates the parallelism. How? Operating system process management patterns is there. Process management you will study in software operating system in detail, how the processes are managed. Process management is a very broad and very important topic, how to manage the processes parallelly, because we are submitting different jobs to our operating system, but your operating system is intelligently doing that task. And then we have the task schedulers. Task scheduler pattern is there. Task scheduler means if more number of tasks came, how we will schedule. So in operating system we have the long term scheduler, medium term and short term schedulers. So this will be done. Next one is the persistent. Persistence means which data persists if it survives past execution of the process that created it. Persistence means which remains in your system. Two patterns are common. A database management system, for that we use patterns that applies the storage and retrieval capability of DBMS to the application architecture. So this pattern will be used. Why? If you need the persistence means whatever operations you did, as a result of your operation, some data will be generated. Suppose if I say I stored I stored some number of employee informations, and I did some calculation like highest salary and lowest salary, or some or monthly salary calculation based on the attendance. So these data we need to store so that we can access again. So for that we need this one, database management system. Okay, that will make it helpful for storing and retrieving later on in the in future that data. So persistency will come because of this database management system, so that we can retrieve. And application level persistence, pattern that build the persistent features into the application architecture. So this is the database management system level. And what is next? Application level persistence patterns. Some applications will be there, some software will be there, some program will be there that build persistence features that will make sure this persistent feature into the application architecture. Okay. Next one is the distribution. The manner in which systems or components within the system communicate with one another in a distributed environment. So in here, intelligently we have to distribute the components. The manner in which this distribution refers to the manner in which the systems or components within the system communicate with one another in a distributed environment. Next one is a broker. The term is the broker acts as a middleman, a mediator between the client component and a server component. So there will be one agent or the broker, that is the intermediator, that will work on behalf of the client component as well as in a server on behalf of the server components. So this we have the client and server architecture is there na? In that we have the client, okay, and server approach architecture. So this type in remote system we are doing here. So they will be interacted. So there will be some mediator in who will be working on behalf of client and servers to make the communication successful. So that is the client server architecture we use. So the broker will play the role. So these are different terms that you need to know in the architectural patterns. So architectural design, the software must be placed into some context. The design should define the external entities. What are those external entities? Such as system, some devices are there, peoples are, they will be treated as the external entity. Like I am connecting the mouse in my system in this okay, in this laptop. So this is treated as an external entity for me. Or if you are having some software that you designed and that requires some, suppose security home system is there that you already discussed in many lectures. For that external device is the webcam, alarm is there, monitor is there. So like this, that the software interact with and the nature of the interactions that we need to consider. A set of architectural archetypes you need to know also this one. So here should be identified. How you will identify? First, you need to know what is the meaning of this term. Archetype means these are the different components in your system. So an archetype is an abstraction similar to a class that represents one element of system behavior. In object-oriented programming, we know the concept of class. Class has its name, some name, and inside it has some attributes and it has some functions or behaviors. So like that, if I say webcam, so webcam has its some characteristics and it has some functions, behaviors that it will show. So camera will be the name and its model number, its name. Okay, ID will be there, different thing that will be the attributes, and what is the objective of this webcam? To capture the images, to run the video, whatever in the physical environment what is happening, it will record that one. So okay, so the designer specifies the architecture of the system by defining and refining software components that implement each archetype. Let's have a look here. So you have this example, you can see control panel is there. Okay, homeowner, he will be using this one system. Target system, security function is some functions are there. We have archetype sensors we have that will sense. In sensor may be any type of, your webcam is also work as a sensor. Okay, some humidity sensor, temperature sensor, maybe fire sensor, maybe smoke sensor. Variety of sensor will be there, or multiple copy of the same sensor may be there. If you talk about the security system using this webcam, so different number of webcam will be there in your building. And one thing, this, because we need to access our system from anywhere using the internet, so we need the internet connectivity also. That is also one interface. This is also one archetype. Okay, surveillance function, peers, uses. So these are the things different. Archetype you can also in the detail way you can see here. What is this? Abstract building blocks. We already know archetypes means these are the abstract building blocks. So what are those? We have the input outputs components. We have the controllers that will control the functions. We have the detectors. Detectors means sensors. We have the indicators and alarm. So what is happening? We can understand these different archetypes. It will give the clarity at different abstract levels. These are the different building blocks of our system. So you can you can make this arrangement in some logical order. Suppose here you can see here the controller is there. So it communicates with the different system, like here one node is there. And what is here? Detector is there and indicator is there. So it will detect, it will indicate. Indicator means alarm is there. If some suppose here we are having some sensor, webcam is there, some disturbance happens if you are not in your home, so one alarm can execute running. So these are the different things. So if we understand these archetypes in the system, it will be very easy for us to write the code, write the program. Okay, and we can make this very we can provide the very easy and understandable architecture to the program writer or developer. Component structure. So these are the different things. Say from there the different functions are there. These are different services. Okay, so I will not GUI mean you will interact with this. GUI means graphical user interface will be there. One component is the interface. RJ45 will be there, network interface NIC will be there, card will be there, external communication. For external communication you will be having this one. Control panel processing, detector management means whatever sensors you are having, that will also be managed. Alarm processing, how we will, based on the condition, some when the alarm will start billing. Surveillance, security, surveillance, supervision to do the home management. Different components are there in the software. If you prepare, we are taking this home security software as a reference to understand this architecture styles. Okay, refined components. So whatever you have prepared here, okay, whatever you prepared in the first go the component, that may be not completely clear, or it may be not be perfect. So you can do the refinement again by analyzing your components. Okay, so what we did here, initially you can observe the differences. We have not given any specific name here. Common terms are used here, but you see here refined component structure. In this, what we are using, in some places you can see we are using a sensor, alarms, phone communication, alarm processing, CP display function is there, keyboard processing is there, scheduler will be there. So further we have refined our components to make more understandable and easy. So analyzing architecture design. So how you will analyze your architecture design, whatever you build, whether it is correct or not correct, or how much it is correct, to how so that we can change. So what you will do? It is a stepwise process. You can understand. Collect the scenarios. In the time of requirement analysis, you can collect the scenario. Elicit requirements, conditions, constraints, and environment description in which it is the system will work. Describes, third point, describe the architectural styles, okay, patterns that have been chosen to address the scenario of requirements. Okay, module view, okay, process view and data view. Next, what you will do, evaluate quality attributes by considered each attribute, by considering each attributes in isolation, means separately, for reliability, performance and portability. So you have to evaluate the quality attributes, okay, keeping in mind in isolation these terms. Then identify the sensitivity of quality attributes to various architectural changes for a specific architectural style. The sixth point is the critic candidate architectures developed in step 3. Whatever you have developed in step 3, using the sensitivity analysis computed in the step 5. So this is a iterative process. In this way you will analyze. Why we are analyzing our architectural design? To make our architecture perfect or accurate, so that no problem may occur at the time of implementation of the
Sir,
system.
sir,
Okay, yeah, tell me.
time over, sir. Manimaran sir will take, sir, at 1 o'clock.
One more at lunch time, sir, will take.
Yes, sir. 1 to 1.
Okay,
10 minutes.
just give me 5 minutes. I will finish this one. Okay.
Already 1 price, sir will take, sir.
Okay, 1 minute. Let me finish this one. Just 2 slides are there. I will finish this and you can leave then. Okay, next one is the architectural complexity. So here architectural complexity means, you can see here, the overall complexity of proposed architecture is assessed by considering the dependencies between components within the architecture. Next, sharing dependencies represents the dependence relationship among consumers who use the same resource or producer who produce for the same consumers using the same variables. Flow dependence, sharing dependency. Next one is the flow dependencies. Represent the dependence relationships between producers and consumers of resources. That is the prerequisites. Constraint dependency represents the constraints or conditions on the relative flow of control among a set of activities mutually exclusive. Mutual exclusion means if somebody is accessing some component, then other people is not allowed to access. So we need to make, so these are the different constraints, mutual exclusion processes. Like this time I am taking the class, no other person can take the class. If I will leave, then other person will start. So this is the, like this some constraint is there. Next one is the architectural description language. This is very important. So if some well-defined, okay, some standardized language is there, then everybody can use that, so that the understandability can be very easy. So it provides a semantic and syntax for describing a software architecture. Provide the designer with the ability to decompose architectural components, compose individual components into larger architectural blocks, and represent interfaces, connections, connection mechanism between the components. If I draw this symbol like this, what is the meaning of this one? Can anybody tell? What is the meaning of this? This is the diamond shape, na? Okay. So what is the meaning of this one?
Relationships.
Relationships.
This is, what is this?
Conditions.
Yes. So this type of representation, no, see, if because you know these things, na, without writing any description, now you are able to interpret this one. So this is the objective of architectural description language. Okay. So we today now we are ending this architectural design, and it is this topic is completed under this software engineering architectural design. In the next lecture, we will discuss the component level design. Okay. Thank you so much for this session. You joined here.